Clay Guida, vintage performance for him against Michael Johnson. It's a shame about Michael Johnson because now beforehand he was like 20-16, so he must now be 20-17 now. He's lost to Clay Guida. It's rough. It's rough now because I expected if Clay was going to lose to this fight, I'd expect a lot of people were going to pressure him to stop fighting. Yeah. He's been fighting for such a long time. He's easily going to be a UFC Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
right?
Well, vintage fight. He's already got some of his fights in the Hall of Fame already.
Against Diego Sanchez.
Yeah. Which I remember when I watched that fight, I was like, whoa, holy crap. It's unbelievable. And I'm pretty sure it's going down as one of the most wild fights ever. And again, but here's the thing. Sometimes the old guys still got it. They can still bang. You know what I mean?
I think he's about 38.
Yeah.
I think he's about 38, 39 years old.
But he's been fighting for a long time. He was one of the early days.
Exactly. And it's, Guida actually looked as like a vintage Clay Guida in that fight. I thought he looked incredible. It was weird to see how, because he usually has quite a long base. His stance is very long, so he's even shorter than he should be in his matchups anyway. But he managed to bring a lot more of his wrestling game into this fight. And I mean, Michael Johnson hit him with some really hard hits, It's rough for Michael Johnson because, I mean, he's had some decent wins. I mean, believe at featherweight, it was Dustin Poirier's last fight featherweight, and he knocked out Dustin Poirier in the first round. And now Michael Johnson's moved up to lightweight, got in the top 10. He's fought Nate Diaz. He's fought so many people, right? It's a shame that now someone like him that was in the top 10 is now unranked.
Yeah. And
he's now lost to Clay Guida, who, arguably a lot of people were expecting him to beat Clay because Clay Guida is far older, outside his prime, around 39 years old. I believe Michael Johnson's about 33.
Yep.
So it's...
He's on a 5-fight losing streak now.
It's hard.
Yeah. His last win was against Andre Fili, which was back in August of 2018.
Yeah. So and Andre Fili, and I think prior to that was Artem Lobov, was it not?
Yeah.
I think it's before Andre Fili, it was Artem Lobov he beat.
Yeah, he beat Artem Lobov.
But he beat the GOAT. He beat the GOAT, so he must be the GOAT, right?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm only joking. But it's a shame that it's hard. It's rough because at one point, like, he was fighting Justin Gaethje and he was like, what, number 5 in the rankings or something? Number 5, number 6 in the rankings?
Yeah.
And now he's unranked.
Yeah, didn't Michael Johnson also beat Ferguson?
He's beat Ferguson. He's got a win over Ferguson and he's got a win over Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
It's difficult. It's. I really was expecting Michael Johnson actually to beat Guida because he actually had a noticeable height and reach advantage. And no, that's not everything. But Johnson's got some power. He really does, especially at lightweight. And I expected Clay, after the wars he's gone through, I didn't expect him to take as much punishment. But Guida did really, really well at doing a lot of wrestling, mainly the high crotch position where he would just try and dump him back on the ground. Really good head position. Make sure he kept his head in really, really close to his chest, avoided any strikes on the ground. And he kind of, sometimes when he was wrestling, I think in the first round against Michael Johnson, not a whole lot went on in that first round, but Clay just dominated him wrestling-wise. He didn't cross certain positions, but he stayed there, and Johnson I think he just expended so much energy on just trying to get back up off the ground.
Yeah, Clay Guida, he's also very much known for having a gas tank.
Yeah, he honestly, when I looked at him, I was like, shit, he's in really good condition.
Yeah. He's always been known as the guy who's always like jumping around in the cage. He was always jumping around, walking up to the cage.
Even in the post-fight interview, he's still this.
Yeah.
After
got ADHD
the fight,
or something.
After the fight, he was running around the octagon. It was mad, and he's just like bumping up and down, and he's got so much energy.
Yeah.
And you can see he was in shape, low body fat. He went on for ages wrestling. all those takedowns that he did, and he was fine. I think
he had 7 total takedowns in that fight.
Yeah, he just. And what was his success rate? It was about
4 out of 7.
4 out of 7. Yeah,
so
I thought it was like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really, really. Arguably, I thought it was going to be a very short knockout. I thought Johnson was going to beat Clay very quickly. I mean, Johnson was in the top 10 for good reason. He's got power. His striking, he's very fast striking wise, but he just seemed to he kept on going for these short range hooks, and Clay was already out of there. He was a bit too slow.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird to see from Johnson. Do you think Johnson's going to get cut?
Yeah, that's the next thing I wanted to ask you. I think they're both going to get cut.
I think Clay's going to stay.
I feel like, because Clay's been fighting since 2012.
I thought he was going to have pressure that he was going to leave, but it looks like Clay's going to stay because Clay's going to stay.
Because we know that there's this wave of cuts coming from Dana, but when is it coming? Like, we don't know when it's going to happen.
It's going to be periodically, I think.
Yeah, periodically, because we lost Romero. We've lost... everyone's thinking we're going to lose Tyron Woodley. But Tyron Woodley's fighting...
He's got a fight against Vicente Luque.
Yeah.
Very soon.
And then we're kind of expecting... I thought we were going to see Diego obviously go. Now he's got one last fight against Cerrone, which we'll talk about later. And obviously I thought we were going to lose Clay because these are all pioneers of the sport. These guys have been around for nearly a decade. You know what I mean? I feel like if you look at how far back, but also the ones that have gone on a massive losing streak as well. Like some of those people got to go like BJ Penn. BJ Penn's on his massive losing streak. I think he holds the record for the most fights lost. And
6 or 7?
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Yeah, and if you keep losing, man, it doesn't make you look good.
It's difficult because with your performances, you kind of want to, like any fighter, when you're a fighter, you want to leave on top, right? And that's what was hard because, I always come back to Michael Bisping. Wins the belt, defeats Dan Henderson. Now, you can argue whether or not he won that decision. I thought he won that decision, but he's defended his belt. He's fought GSP. Lost to GSP. He now says, look, I'm happy I lost to you because you are the greatest welterweight champion ever. But then he comes back 3 months later after losing to GSP to fight Gastelum.
Yeah.
And Gastelum's got a nasty left hook.
Yeah.
And he just gets put down, I believe, in the first round. So and he says openly, I regret it. I should have just left. And it's hard when it comes with both fighters. Johnson most likely is going to get cut.
Yeah.
How many fights is he? He's on a 3-fight losing streak before today. Now he's on 4 fights.
So now he's on a 4-fight losing streak.
And then there's Clay. Clay's now a much older competitor. He's now won against Michael Johnson. He should be proud of that win. Yeah. I believe he won every round, to be fair.
And I think he should just take it with a pride, and because no one wants to go out on a loss. You know what I mean? I feel like he should just go out on a win. Really,
I think he should, but he says, I believe in the interview yesterday, he said, "I'm not going to stop fighting until fighting isn't fun anymore," and that doesn't really make sense because you may fight somewhere else, but you won't fight in the UFC. If you keep losing. But he won today. So I think Clay should retire because even though he looked I thought he looked in such good shape. Right?
Yeah.
He's they're obviously all fighters at heart, but I think he should retire. And I think Michael Johnson should definitely retire. I think it's hard because he's still 33 years old. He can still fight for a number of more years. Perhaps he's going to get cut and maybe he can try one more time in Bellator or some other promotion. We know the ex-MMA, ex-CMS MMA, which is where we saw James Vick. He moved to, but unfortunately he lost, I think last week there as well. So it's rough, dude.
It's rough. It's rough also seeing some of these fighters go to other organizations to get their asses